नमः सुन्दरनाथाय तस्मै हालास्य वासिने चतुष्षष्टि विधालीला येनाकारि भुवस्थले श्रीमत्सुन्दरनाथस्य देवीं शपरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनीं पूतं स्वतः पूततरं ततो यद्गाङ्गम्पयः शङ्करमौळिसङ्गा तत्पातु मातुः प्रणयापराधपादाहते पूततमं ततो नः सर्वासामपि सिद्धीनां दुर्वासा निधिरद्भुतः समगच्छत तेनाभ्रे सहि गच्छन् यदृच्छया परिपालयितुं रौद्रीं प्रतिसर्गाधिकारितां तस्य न ज्वलति क्रोधो यस्यैका जगताहुतिः अग्न्यागारगते तस्मिन् अनाहूतागता स्वयं सन्दर्शयन्ति स्वात्मानं देवा आवाहन क्षणे. We started off with the fourth Sarga where we saw that there was another Indra who had come. Prathama Leelayam Yaha Indraha Asit Satu Gataha Nivritte Indraha Tadanantaram Manvantaram Api Abhavat. That particular Manvantara was also over. And then another Indra came and he was ruling. So one day he decided to go out of the city. And when a king goes out of the city, saparivarameva saha bahirgacchati iti karanat tatra sarve devaha tatra tam samavritya saha api bahihi agataha airavatam aruhya agataha. So he climbed onto his airavata and he came out. Or Raja Bhavanivara Madri. Yeah. So he came out of his city and he was traveling through the Akasha Margam at that point of time. And Durvasa Yadrichaya, by some fate or accidentally, Durvasa met him. So next few shlokas are a description of Durvasa. And how it's like a precursor to the shapam that he is going to give Indra next. So he was an adbhutaha nidhihi. He was like a treasure of all ashtama siddhi. And he was walking on the he met with the Indra there. He is famous for his anger. Yasya krodhaha krodhasya tu Jagateva ahutihi vartate. This entire three worlds can be an ahuti. That is, he could very well take over the job of Rudra, who is the Samhara Adhikari. But this Maharshi does not let his Krodham burn as much as that because it could possibly take over the position of Rudra. So, Raudrim Pratisarga Adhikaritam Paripalayitu. So, to protect Rudra's authority of this Samharam, Durvasa's anger does not burn at all. He is very well capable of burning the entire world. Now, when he goes to his Agni Agaragate, the respect that he commands from all the Devas is very high. So he just decides to go to his Yagashala, and when he enters, even before he enters, the Devas are already present there before he could even call them. So usually the sages go to the Yagashala and then they start performing yagas. And at the particular point, they will call or invoke the Devata with an offering, with a havis. Tadha anahuta eva agataha devaha. The Devas have so much of respect and at the same time they are also afraid of Durvasa. So they come there and are present, probably invisible to everybody. So anahuta agataha swayam. They have already arrived there and without any invitation. But when he offers the havis and avahana samaye, when he does the avahanam, at that point of time they show themselves sandarshayanti. So we saw till the fifth shloka. Continuing on the mahima of Durvasa, the next one is nanugacchati tasya agnihi na vishyandate havihi na apakshayati santrastaha na nirmanthe vilambate. Satu adhuna yagashala magataha devastu avahana samaye swatmanam darshayanti prakati kurvanti parantu agnihi katham karyam karoti tatra iti chet agnihi tasya na agnihi santrastaha is very afraid of Durvasa. Agni is also afraid of him. The sacrificial fire that is there, it is also afraid of him. Santrastaha. Na anugacchati, havihi na vishyandate, na apakshayati, nirmanthe na vilambate. So these are the four things that the Agni does not do. So because of his bhayam, this Agni na anugacchati, he does not extinguish himself at all. Anugacchati is usually, we have seen in classical Sanskrit and in our parlance, in normal parlance, the way we use it is anugacchati. Lakshmanaha Ramam anugacchati iti. So that is he follows. Anu iti chet paschat. So paschat gacchati ityarthe eva asmabhihi drishtam purvam sarvatra. Parantu, this is a very particular reference to Mimamsa terminology where anugamanam, anugacchati, and if it is referring to the Agni, which is in that Ukkyaha Agni, that is when it is in the and the Agnihotram, Agni, right? So when it is in that state, when you say anugacchati, then it means it is slowly dying out. So na anugacchati iti chet atra shantaha na bhavati ityarthaha. So there are two references in Vedam. I think this will probably only apply to Agni, which has been created with Veda Vakyas and in particular in the context of Yagashala. And if in that context of Yagashala, you use Anugacchati for Agni, then the meaning is Shantaha Bhavati. It extinguishes. The Shruti Vakyam here is Atha Yadyesho Yeshaha Ukkyaha Agnihi Anugachet. So in a case of, you don't let the Agni die out at all. And in case the Agni dies out, you can get it from your Guru. And anugataha cheta mantyaha, you will have to bring that on the aranikatta and solrolya. You will use a stick in which you will have to rekindle the fire. So you'll have to ensure that the Agni doesn't die down. And then if it does die down, you bring it from the Guru's house, or if the Guru's house is not nearby and you are somewhere else, stuck somewhere else, then you will have to mantyaha. Manthanam iti chet, you use one stick which is horizontal and another stick is put in a hole, and then you try to do friction and try to get the fire out of that friction. So that is mathanam, Agni manthanam or mathanam. This sort of a anugataha, if it goes down, then you will have to rekindle the fire. But such a case is not at all present for Durvasa. Na anugacchati eva tasya agnihi. Tasya Durvasasaha agnihi santrastaha sanna. It is always afraid of him and it never extinguishes. Na anugacchati. Havihi vishyandate. So when you offer havis, sometimes some of those will fall out. Even in our home, when you do a simple yaga or some simple homam, when you try to put the havis inside the fire, or when you put even ghee inside the fire, slowly it will spill out also. But this Agni is afraid of Durvasa and he doesn't let the havis go out. Na vishyandate havihi. Havihi atra dvitiya vibhaktihi vartate. So Agnihi, havihi, he doesn't let the havis spill out. Vishyandate. Syandate iti chete tatra it just oozes out. Tatha na bhavati atra Durvasasaha yagashalaya. Na apakshayate. Apakshayate na going and the mandam prakashate iti apakshayate. It slowly reduces its prakasham. Tathapi na bhavati. Na apakshayate. So Agnihi, tasya Agnihi, Durvasasaha, Maharshehe Agnihi, Bhitaha, Jhatiti, Jwalati. It's just, it's always brightly burning and it does not go down at all. Na apakshiyate, it does not wane. Nirmanthe when you do the kindle, that is when you do that kindling of the fire, and the aranikatela போட்டு நம்ம ஒரு இது பண்றச்சே, rubbing பண்றச்சே, அப்போ na vilambate. Sometimes it will take a long time for you to get a fire or a spark through friction, but here Agni will immediately come out. Na vilambate, he does not delay when someone does that kindling in Durvasa's yagashala. So tasya agnihi santrastaha sanna, being afraid of him, na anugacchati, it does not extinguish, na havihi na vishyandate, it does not spill out the offering that is given inside, na apakshayati, it does not wane, it does not go down, that is the prakashasya kshayaha na vidyate, shantaha bhavati, it's completely extinguishing. Here edo munuk munukku eriyirudhu தமிழ்ல சொல்றச்சே இல்ல, அந்த மாதிரி இல்லாத, இட்ஸ் ஜஸ்ட் நைஸ் பிரைட் ஃபயர். நிர்மந்தே ந விலம்பதே, நிர்மந்தே அரணோ மதனே, மதன சமயே ந விலம்பதே, இட் டஸ் நாட் காலக்ஷேபம் ந கரோதி, ஜடிதி ஏவ தத்ர ஜ்வலதி. சோ நானு கச்சதி தஸ்யாக்னிஹி ந விஷயந்ததே ஹவிஹி ந அபக்ஷயதி சந்திரஸ்தஹ ந நிர்மந்தே விலம்பதே. अतपत् तपनाकारम् अज्वलत् ज्वलनोपमं दृष्ट्वैव तं मुनिं देवाः तत्र सुहु तत्र सुस्थिताः. देवाः तत्र सुस्थिताः स्वस्थाने एव. So wherever the devas now saw this rishi as they were coming out, so the rishi Durvasa had met with Indra. Indra had come out of his puri with all the devas around him on his Airavatam. Devas saw Durvasa and immediately they just stood there quietly without any movement. Tam munim drishtva eva, drishtva tam munim devaha. The devas drishtva eva, immediately upon seeing the sage, that's all, he has not even opened his mouth, he has not done anything there, not even made any action. Drishtva eva, eva iti avadharanarthe tatra, you say, the moment they saw that rishi, upon merely seeing him, that's all. So drishtva tam munim tatra devaha susthitaha achanchalaha, without any movement, they were standing really well. அதாவது சுஷ்டு ஸ்திதாக இத்யுக்தே, you don't say நன்னா நின்னுட்டு இருந்தா அப்படின்னா, not doesn't mean that they were standing really well, means more like the without any movement they were standing like chitrarpitaramba ivavataste, as if they were painted. Tadha, they were standing. Why were they standing like that? Tatra suhu, and they were just shaking with fear, without any movement, in the sense they did not run away from that place, but they were standing there and they were shaking with fear. So tatra suhu is tras dhatoho litlakaraha. Tras ityukte udvegaha athava bhayam. Out of fear, they were all kampanam, right? They were shaking with fear, trembling with fear, just standing there. Now, what sort of a muni they saw? Why were they trembling with fear when they saw Durvasa? There are two adjectives here for Durvasa in the first line here. Atapat tapanakaram ajwalat jwalanopamam. Atapat tapana akaram ajwalat jwalana upamam. He was similar to both Surya, the sun, and he was also similar to a fire. But the difference was, he was like the sun without the heat. Atapat tapanasya akaraha yasya na tapati iti atapat atapan suryaha tapanaha tasya akara iva akaraha yasya. So one who has an akara, a form like that of tapanaha, suryaha, like that of the sun, but without that heat generates. If you are standing so close to the sun, imagine you will be burning constantly, right? You won't even be able to stand there. But this is Surya, who does not have that heat. He does not generate so much of heat that Surya generates, right? Even Surya Patni tu tasya samipe sthatum api ashaknot. She could not stand near him. And so Surya's wife sent her chaya, her shadow, to Surya instead. And that's why you have Yamuna, and others as Surya's children who are more dark, and whereas Surya, who were those who were born to Surya and not Chaya, those who were born to Surya were more of a brighter color. So atapat tapanakaram, tapana akaram, he had the form of tapana, Suryaha, but without that heat. Na tapati, he does not generate that amount of heat. Ajwalat jwalana upamam. He is also compared to or similar to jwalana. Jwalana is fire here. Jwalana ज्वलनः अग्निः ज्वलनेन उपमीयते इति ज्वलनोपमः. So Agni Sannibhaha, Agni Sadrishaha Saha. So he is equal to Agni, but without Ajwalat, without that Jwala. Na Jwalati. Jwala na vidyate tasya. He doesn't burn. One is he is like a Surya without the heat. The other is he also resembles the fire without that Jwala or flames. So he was like a fire that was not burning, and he was like the Surya, sun, without the heat. And hence, upon seeing such a rishi, the devas just stood there and trembled. Susthitaha devaha tatrasuhu. Tatrasuhu is in litlakara. Tatrasa, tatrasatuhu, tatrasuhu. Atapat tapanakaram, ajwalat jwalanopamam, drishtvaiva tam munim devaha, tatrasuhu, tatra susthitaha. The alankaras here, one is there is an yamaka alankara here. Yamaka is such that where there is a repetition of syllables, that is, there is but there is a different meaning for these two. Tatra and tatra, if you see, there is a repetition of tatra, tatra. It's the same. The set of syllables, that is the consonants and vowels, swaravyanjana samudayasya varna samuhasya tatra avrittihi bhavati, punashrutihi bhavati, but the meaning is different. In tatra, here it is actually part of tatrasuhu, which is a verb here, they trembled. Akampanta iti. Atra tu tatra iti chet yatra te sthitaha asan tatra. It is a swasthane ityartha. So there are two different meanings for this, but the combination of varnas are repeating. This is called yamaka. It is a shabdalankara paunaruktiye swara vyanjana yugmayoho iti. Now here you have Vyatireka alankaram, that is, he is different from the normal sun, and he is equal to them, but he is different from them. So it is a Vyatireka alankara, right? You are comparing the Muni to Surya, but at the same time you are saying that he is different from Surya, bhinnaha saha iti. Tasmat, it's called Vyatireka alankara, showing a difference between the Upamanam and the Upameyam. Atapat tapanakaram ajwalat jalanopamam drishtva tam munim devaha tatrasuhu tatra susthitaha. So now the description of Durvasa is over, and we have an idea of the prabhavam of Maharishi. How great his anger was, not just his tapas, but with reference to his anger and how everybody were afraid of him. In that angle, the Rishi's description was given until this 7th shloka. Now, what happened when he met with Deva, the Indra? Panibhyam apramattosau prasadam padmam aishwaram gajaskandhagatayapi dadau rajeti vajrine. Panibhyam apramattaha asau Panibhyam Aishwaram Prasadam Padmam Gajaskandha Gataya Api Raja Iti Vajrine Dadau. So Vajri is Indra here, one who has Vajram as his weapon. So Vajram asya asti iti Vajri. So Vajrine Indraya Saha Dadau. He had a lotus in his hand, Padmam, which is a prasadam of Ishvara. Aishwaram prasadam Padmam. He gave it to the Raja, Vajrine Dadau. Why did he give it to Indra? Raja iti vajrine dadau. Because he was a king, he gave it to Indra. Now imagine. So in Halasya Mahatmyam, it says, Skanda Purane asti Halasya Mahatmyam iti. Tatra tu Leelayaha Varnanam Vartate. And he says, Durvasastu Mahatejaha Kashim Samprapya Sadaram Sarvatirtheshu Samsnaya Sarvalingani Pujyacha Kameshwaram Lingam Pratisthapya Prapujya. He goes to Kashi. He establishes, that is, he lingasya pratishtham karoti, linga pratishtha. He does the linga pratishtha there in Kashi, and then he does a puja to that lingam. Tada patati sannidhau tasya devasya lingam alokya samsthitaha. He was standing there in Kashi in front of the lingam that he had established, and he had just finished the puja, and he was looking at that lingam and just standing. Okay, so sannidhau tasya devasya sannidhau, in the presence of that Parameshwara, lingam alokya samsthitaha. He was just standing there looking at that Shivalingam. As he was looking at it, tada patati lingasya mastakastham mahotpalam, and utpala pushpam, a flower falls down from the head of Parameshwara in Kashi. Now he takes that grihitva tan mahapritya swechaya sancharan munihi. Swechaya, the same word that we found in Nilakanta Dikshita, is there. Actually, he has taken it from Halasya Mahatmyam. Swechaya gachan. This Durvasa, he took that flower which fell down from the head of the lingam, and he was walking on his own. And accidentally, Devarajam tada drishtva. He saw Devaraja, and Ashir bihi abhinandya, he gave this prasadam to him. So Nilakanta Dikshita does not mention that small incident of going to Kashi and that prasadam fell down from the head of Parameshwara, and he got that flower, and this is this. All he says here is, because it is a kavyam, it is not a puranam. Certain things we will have to get it from the Puranam for our understanding. So Aishwaram Prasadam Padmam Panibhyam Dadau. So he gave to Vajrine, he gave to Indra a Padmam, which is an Aishwaram Prasadam, which is the Prasada of Ishwara. It is the Prasadam of Parameshwara, this divine lotus. He gave it as an offering to Indra, even though he was present on top of that elephant. When a rishi comes, immediately the protocol is such that Indra has to get down from his elephant and then do a namaskaram to that rishi and show his respect to him. But he did not show that. Gajaskandha gatayapi yadyapi saha gajasya upari eva sthitaha gajat na avatatara. He did not get down from that elephant, and he was just gajasya skandham gataha. Skandham gataha iti chet, skandham iti chet shoulder, or on top of that elephant. So he was, even though api gajaskandha gatayapi, even though he was sitting on top of that elephant and he did not show the due respect to Maharshi, still this Maharshi, he did not bother about that. He said, this person is a king, so it is right that he has to be sitting on that elephant. Never mind. So I will give him this flower. And so he gave that flower to Indra. Raja iti. Raja iti padasya hetu artha. Iti ingarthukku there are many different meanings. You can say prakaranam, prakarsham, samapti, iti Srimad Bhagavata Purane, as a conclusion, right? Iti Gitasu, Upanishatsu, we say that, right? So iti can be used as a conclusion. Samapti rupena iti padam upayuktam shakyate. So iti padam, iti prakaranam, it is the context. This is the context. But here he uses the word iti as hetu. The meaning of iti is hetu. You go to Amarakosha, you will find in the Nanartha Vargam, you will find the meaning of iti hetu prakarana prakarshadi samaptishu iti. So this word iti here gives the meaning of hetu. So Raja karanat, Raja iti karanat. Because of the fact that he was a king And even though he was present on top of the elephant, Durvasa apramattaha asau. So Durvasa here is asau. Asau, this person who was apramattaha. Pramattaha, not attentive, careless. Apramattaha is very carefully he gave it to him because it is an Aishwaram Padmam. It is a offering, it's a divine lotus which he got it from Parameshwara himself as a prasadam. So he very attentively he gave it to the king. How did he give it? Panibhyam dadau. Natu ekena panina. Panibhyam. With both of his hands, he gave it. He did not give it like, inda. It's not a casual thing that he gives him. Tadha nasti. Because it itself, that flower itself is a prasadam of Shiva, he gave it very carefully, very attentively. He gave it to him with both hands. Panibhyam apramattaha so prasadam padmamaishwaram gajaskandhagatayapi dadau rajayati vajrine. You can see the repetition of the letters pa here continuously, right? Panibhyam apramattaha prasadam padmamaishwaram iti. So this is a vritti anuprasa. These are all shabdalankaras here. Panibhyam apramattoso. So the meaning here is apramattaha asau, the attentive Durvasa, with his two hands, panibhyam dadau, he gave the Aishwaram Prasadam Padmam, he gave that divine lotus, which was an offering, which was a prasadam from Ishwara, Parameshwara. He gave it to Vajrine dadau, he gave it to Indra, even though Indra was sitting on top of the elephant. Gajaskandhagatayapi Raja iti dadau. What is the reason for him to give to a person who was so disrespectful? He gave it to him because he was a king. Okay. So Panibhyam apramattoso prasadam padmamaishwaram gajaskandhagatayapi dadau rajayati vajrine. Anadritya. Now this Indra was already, he was disrespectful. He did not get down from that elephant. Now it was even more disrespectful. He felt he was a king and he cannot accept such a mere lotus or anything. So he placed it on the head of that elephant. Anadritya satam mohat nidadhe murdhni dantinaha shundaya sopi upadaya nishpipesha nisargataha. Now what will an elephant do? Something is there on its head. When the it'll create some sensation on his head. Immediately he takes that lotus out of his head and then he crushes it, probably with his leg. With his leg is what is given in Halasya Mahatmyam also. Atratu spashtataya na uktam. The details are not given. It just says Shundaya Upadaya. He takes it with his trunk and Nishpipesha, he crushes it. That is his nature. See the difference here that he gives between the action of Indra and the action of the elephant is such that why Indra placed it on the head of the elephant out of moha. He had murkha. He is a fool. So out of insensible person. He did not understand what to do and what not to do. He did not think at that moment at all. So mohat. Out of confusion, confusion is something which is very real and doesn't give that bad effect that you have. Confusion seems very nice, but here mohate is more like a delusion or avivichya karitvam, that is avivekaha, not understanding what you have to do in which situation. Sayeva mohaha iti atra. So kim kartavyam, kim akartavyam iti saha na janati. Tadrisha mohat, because of that insensibility, mohat, saha indraha tam anadritya. Tam iti chet atra tammana, it can't be pushpam. So it should be durvasasam anadritya. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking it was tam, because tat iti pushpam, tat mohat, it should be there. Or it can, if you say tam mohat, then it has to be tam anadritya. So tam rishim anadritya, without even thinking about or giving respect to that rishi, he placed it on nidadhe. He placed it on the head, murdhni, of that danti. Dantinaha murdhni nidadhe. He placed it on the head of the elephant. Danti is elephant here. So when you do the Vigraha Vakyam for this word, you have to be careful. If it is a normal elephant, then you can say Dantau Asya Asti iti Danti. But because this is Airavata, Airavata has 4 tusks. So you will have to say Dantaha Asya Asti iti Danti. So Dantinaha Murdhni, on the top of the head of that elephant, he placed the lotus because he did not consider that rishi at all. Out of disrespect to that rishi, tam anadritya, without respecting that rishi, mohat, not knowing what has to be done at that particular situation, saha indraha dantinaha murdhni, on the head of that elephant, nidadhe, he placed that pushpam on it, on that head. If it was tan mohat, then we can take it as tat mohat also, as to mean the pushpam. So api, now here this saha refers to danti. Saha danti api, saha gajaha api, kim akarot shundaya upadaya. He took it with his trunk and nisargataha. Gajasya swabhavaha evameva asit, swajati swabhavat, because owing to his natural nature, that is a species nature, to take anything with its trunk and crush it, that is its nature. So nishpipesha, peshanam akarot, so he completely crushed it with his trunk or with his leg. He put it down and crushed it with his leg. So anadritya saha tam mohat. Here also you can have a vrityanuprasa of dha and dha continuously. So wherever you find such repetition of letters, you can take it as vrityanuprasa. If it is repeated once or twice or thrice, doesn't matter. Okay, just letters, consonant and consonant is being repeated. Okay, the vowels might be different. Swaranam bhinnatvam bhavitum shakyate. Anadritya satam mohat nidadhe murdhni dantinaha shundaya sopi upadaya nishpipesha nisargataha. He got angry. The next shloka is the description of his anger. Abhujya sa bhruvau kinchit avartya kapile drishau prajajwala iva kopena munihi praspurita adharaha. Praspurita adharaha munihi kopena prajajwala iva. It was as if he was burning out of anger. Kopena, because of anger, with anger. Prajajwala iva. Iva, it was as if he was prajajwala, he was burning. The rest are all what he did. Cheshtaha, manasi tu kopaha vartate, tari bahihi bhavaha kidrishaha bhavitavya. Manasi bhavaha vartate, kopaha. Then what are the actions that he performs that give us the clue that he is actually feeling that anger in his mind? These are called anubhavas. That is, the cheshta that a person does is called anubhava. So saha munihi bhruvau abhujya. Abhujya, ang, bhuj dhatu. Actually, bhuj, there are 2 dhatus. One is bhunakti or bhunkte, to eat. There is another dhatu called bhuj kautilye, kutilatvam. So to make it crooked. So abhujya iti atra, it is namayitva, to make it bend or to make it crooked. Kutilam kritva. Bhruvau kutilam krutva, odane knitting the eyebrows. He just scrunches his eyebrows. Kinchit kapile drishau avartya. He rolls his eyes. Avartya, avartanam na round. Yeah, avartanam. In music and all, you say or avartanam. You do that. One avartanam is you come back to the starting point. So it is a Vartanam is round actually here. So Avartya, Kapile Drishe, his eyes became very red in color, a little yellowish and reddish in color. Kapile Drishau, both of his eyes, Kinchit Avartya, slightly he just rolled his eyes. Rolling eyes indicating that it's an anger. He could not understand the disrespect that Indra showed and the way Airavata crushed the flower. It may have been the swabhavam of a normal elephant, not that of a divine Diggajaha, and upon which Indra is traveling. This Airavata cannot behave in the manner of a normal elephant, right? So he got a little angry, and so Bhruvau Abhujya, he scrunched his eyebrows, bending his brows, rolling his red eyes a little, Kinchit Kapile Drishau Avartya, Praspurita Adharaha. Adharaha is lower lip. Oshta is upper lip and Adhara is lower lip. So Praspurita Adharaha, his lower lip was Puritam, was throbbing a little. When you want to try to say something quickly, then your lower lip will start throbbing even before the words come out of your mouth. So Praspurita Adharaha Munihi Saha Kopena Prajajwala Iva. He did not burn. There was no fire on him as such, but then it was as if he was burning with that Kopagni. So here, Kopam, the anger is equated to fire here, and it was as if he was burning with fire, with anger. So Abhujya Saha Bhruvau Kinchid Avartya Kapile Drishau Prajajwala Iva Kopena Munihi Praspurita Adharaha. The moment his anger started coming out, all the elements stopped. The next shloka is how the elements reacted and how the Akasham reacted to his anger here. There was an immediate effect in the atmosphere at that point of time. Paspande cha sahasramshuhu tastambhe marutas tada chakampe sarnava prithvi vivyathe kevalam nabhaha. Sahasramshuhu na paspande. Sahasramshu, the sun, did not even move a little bit. Spandaha is an automatic action. Usually, spuranam or spandaha is an automatic action. Chalanam is moving. You voluntarily do that action. But na paspande, there was not even one single movement of Sahasramshu. Sahasramshu itikte Sahasram Amshavaha, Kiranaha Yasya. One who has 1,000 rays. This is an epithet for Surya. So Sahasramshuhu, the sun, na paspande, he did not even move. All of these are in litlakara. Paspande, tastambhe, chakampe, vivyathe. All these four verbs are in litlakara. So the sun did not even move. Sahasramshuhu na paspande marutaha vayuhu tada vayuhu na vayuhu tastambhe. Tastambhe, he stood. The sun did not move. Wind stopped because wind is also constantly moving. Marutaha vayuhu, he is called Sarvagatiman. So he is constantly having a movement and he is never stops at all. So that sort of a wind stopped. Sahasramshu also keeps on moving because Surya, the time is a constant. There is a movement in time which is constant, and Surya and Chandra, both of these are the representative of Kalam, and Yedve Kalam Vidhatte. Surya, the sun and the moon are the two things that determine the time for us, and time doesn't stop for anything, right? Time is something that is moving constantly. So the sun also, it may seem that it is there for a long time. We may be looking at it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, but it is actually shifted a bit there. We don't have that, we are not able to understand it from our limited understanding and limited eyesight. But it keeps on moving constantly. Tadrishaha Suryaha api na paspandhe iti chetu, it just completely stopped because they were kopasya ugrata tadrishi asit. The fierceness of his anger was such that they were all afraid of getting a curse, a shapam from Durvasa, and hence Surya did not move at all. Vayu did not, the wind was not moving. It had stopped. Tastambhe. Prithivi, Sarnava Prithivi, Sagaraihi Sahita Prithivi, Sa Arnava, Arnavaihi Sahita Sarnava. Prithvi, Prithvi Bhumi, which with all of her oceans, started trembling there. So Bhumi is actually sthiram. She doesn't move at all. She doesn't tremble at all. It's a very there is a movement according to science and everything, but the paryayavachi shabdam for bhumi in Amarakosham, it is called as sthiram. That is, she doesn't move from her orbit. That sort of a sthiratvam is there for Prithvi. But then Prithvi started trembling in such a manner that she would probably move away from her orbit. So tadha asitu Prithvi's reaction. Sarnava, Prithvi, earth with the oceans, trembled, chakampe. But the sky, kevalam nabha vidyathe. Vidyathe ityukte bhayam anvabhut. The sky was feeling afraid. Sky cannot feel afraid. It's a lakshana here. The sky is a representative of those people who were all standing in the sky when they had seen Durvasa here. So the moment they saw Durvasa, those people who were dwelling in the sky, because they were the closest to that incident. When you are the closest to the the earthquake's starting point, then you will feel the earthquake the maximum. Right? So Durvasa was in the Akasham, and these devas were all standing closest to him, so they experienced the maximum fear here. So Kevalam Parantu Nabhaha Akashaha Vidyathe, it felt afraid. But that is, the devas who were all present there were feeling afraid. Paspande na sahasramshuhu tastambhe marutastada chakampe sarnava prithvi vidyathe kevalam nabha. Na saha hasti hastipakayoho shapam ghoram avasrajat vajram vajrini durvaram ankusham cha nirankushi. Saha durvasaha shapam ghoram shapam avasrajat amunchat. He released a shapa. He let forth a curse. Ghoram shapam, that too a bhayankara curse, a really terrible curse on both Hasti and Hastipaka. Hastini Hastipake cha Hastipakaha ityukte Hastipaha. Hastim palayati iti pati iti Hastipaha. Hastipaha eva Hastipakaha. Just as we have Balaha eva Balakaha iti. In the same manner, Hastipakaha means a person who takes care of the elephant. Here, Neelakanta Dikshita reduces Indra to a person who just takes care of that elephant. He doesn't call him a Raja here. This is Hasti and Hastipaka, because they both behaved like a normal Mahot and its elephant. That's all. So he decided to change their outlook. Raja iti na gajaskandhagataha. That sort of an exalted description and all is gone in this shloka, because they are receiving a curse here. Saha Durvasaha Hasti Hastipakayoho Ghoram Shapam Avasrajat. He put a curse, or he let forth a curse on both the elephant and its mahot. Now, what sort of a curse? This Hastipaka is in Saptami Vibhakti. So it is Vajrini. That curse became like a thunderbolt on Indra, and it was like an ankusham for the elephant. That is, both of them thought that they cannot be defeated. Indra had his Vajrayudha, and he felt very powerful because of that Vajrayudha. Because he could throw it on everybody as a weapon. No, this Shapam became that weapon for him. It became like a Durvaram Vajram, a Vajrayudha which cannot be, that was very difficult to face. Durvaram dukkena varyate iti nirodhum ashakyam vajram iva asit. So Durvaram vajram iva ghoram shapam asrajat. He let forth a curse which was like a Vajrayudha, which was like an indestructible Vajrayudham on Vajri himself, on Indra himself. And then the Shapa also was like an Ankusha. Ankusham is the goad that you use to bring the elephant under control. Now, this elephant was without any control. Nirankushe gaje. That elephant which did not have any Ankusham, which was not at all controlled by anybody, Tadrishe Nirankushe Hastini Ayam Shapaha Ankushavat Asit. It became an Ankusham to control it. Ankushangardu, Pashankusham Nutu, these are all weapons that even Devi has in her hand. It Srini Abdinutu, there is another word for Ankusha. It is a gourd which is a long iron rod which has a curved top so that you can prod the elephant to make it do what you want. So, Saha Hasti Hastipakayoho Shapam Goram Avasrajat Vajram Vajrini Durvaram Ankusham cha Nirankushe. Any questions? You can raise your hand. Namaste. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Namaste.
நீலகண்ட தீட்சிதர் வந்து சிவனோட பெரிய பக்தர். ஆனா பாகவதம் அண்ட் நாராயணியத்துல வந்து தேவியாக்கும் ஒரு திவ்ய மாலை துர்வாசருக்கு கொடுத்ததாகவும், துர்வாசர் வந்து அத வந்து இந்திரனுக்கு இதே மாதிரி இந்திரன் இதுல ஆனையில வர சமயத்துல அவருக்கு கொடுத்ததாகவும் கதைகள் இருக்கு. அதனால்தான் நான் உங்கள்ட்ட கொஸ்டின் கேட்கிறேன். நீலகண்ட தீட்சிதர் என்ன சொல்லிருக்காருன்னா, பரமசிவன் அவருக்கு வந்து தாமரைப்பூ கொடுத்ததாக இதுல வருது.
ஆமா ஆமா. ஏன்னா அது இட்ஸ் நாட் பிகாஸ் நீலகண்ட தீட்சிதா இஸ் சிவபக்தாங்கிறதுக்காக இல்ல. இது மோர் லைக் ஹாலாஸ்ய மகாத்மியத்துல இருக்கக்கூடிய கதையை தான் ஃபாலோ பண்ணி இவர் எழுதுறார். அதுல இருக்கிறது என்னன்னா, படிச்சேன் இல்லையா, அந்த லிங்கத்தில இருந்து விழுந்ததுங்கிறதுனால அதை எடுத்துட்டு அவர் வந்தார்னு தான் இருக்கு. சோ இட் ஃபாலோஸ் தட் ஸ்டோரி. சோ ஒரு புராணத்துக்கும் வேதங்கள் இருக்கும்.
அவளோட மனோபாவத்துல தானே இது பண்றா இல்லையா? அதனால இந்த புக்ஸ் எங்க கிடைக்குங்கிறது நீங்க சொன்னா நல்லா இருக்கும்.
இது இந்த சிவலீலார்ணவமா? சிவலீலார்ணவம் ஆலாஸ்ய மகாத்மியம் வந்து மீனாட்சி ஸ்துதி மஞ்சரின்னு ஒரு புக் இருக்கு. எஸ்.வி. ராதாகிருஷ்ண சாஸ்திரி பண்ணிருக்கிறது. அதுலயே வந்து உங்களுக்கு ஹாலாஸ்ய மகாத்மியமும் இருக்கு. இது வந்து மகாபரிவா ட்ரஸ்ட்னு ஒண்ணு, அதுல they have published this. I can send the details of this. Maybe next class ஆரம்பத்துல I will give the details of where this Halasya Mahatmyam is available. பாக்குறேன்னா I'll let you know. Shivaleelarnavam வந்து if you go to Vyoma and அங்கேயே வந்து I have uploaded just the 4th Sarga is there, and archive.org la the entire text is also available. I will give the link.
ஏன்னா நீங்க சொல்றதே ரொம்ப இதா இருக்கு, பினியும் படிக்கணும்னு இருக்கு. அதனாலதான்.
Sure.
Thank you.
Namaste Mohdaya. Shankari Mohdaya.
Namaste Mohdaya. Samana prashna asit purvam Santanika-pushpam iti patitavantah Vishnu Purane Bhagavate cha. Anantaram प्रसादः इति पुल्लिङ्गपदम् इति कारणेन तं प्रसादम् इति स्वीकर्तुं शक्नुमः इति तत्र
शक्यते. प्रसादम् इत्यपि वक्तुं शक्यते, बट् प्रसादरूपं पद्मम् इति अस्ति इति कारणात्, and it was more than not disrespecting the flower, but it was showing a disrespect towards the rishi.
Rishi.
அதனால
कोपः इति विषये महान्तः कथं कोपं प्रकटयन्ति इति विषये श्रीमद्देवी भागवते कश्चन श्लोकः पठितः, वदामि वा? क्षणकोपा महान्तो वै पापिष्ठा कल्पकोपनाः जलं स्वभावतः शीतं पावकातपयोगतः उष्णं भवति तच्छीघ्रं तद्विना शिशिरं भवेत् इति. जलं यथा सूर्यस्य रश्मिना अथवा अग्नियोगेन उष्णं भवति, किन्तु कारणं विना अग्निः वा सूर्यरश्मि वा यदि न भवति तदा स्वस्य स्वभावेन शीतलमेव भवति। तद्वत् एव महान्तः अपि ते सामान्यतया कृपालवः भवन्ति, निश्चयेन शान्ताः। किमपि वास्तविककारणं यदि भवति तदा ते कोपं प्रकटयन्ति, किन्तु क्षणं यावत् एव तद् सः कोपः तिष्ठति इति। क्षणकोपाहि महान्तो वै इति। क्षणकोपा महान्तो वै पापिष्ठा कल्पकोपनाः इति।
करेक्ट् करेक्ट् कल्पान्तं तेषां कोपः तिष्ठति इति। ओके
एतत् पस्पन्दे इति श्लोककथनसमये चलचित्रदृश्यं सर्वं पुरतः आगतम्। அந்த ரெட் கலர்ல மாறி இந்த கடல்லாம் பொங்கி வழிஞ்சு அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் शिवस्य कोपः यदा भवति तदा दर्शयन्ति किल, तिरुविळयाडल् पुराणं बहु सम्यक् अस्ति। धन्यवादः महोदय।
नमस्ते।
இந்த விஷயந்தயத்தே and அபக்ஷயதி அதோட ரெண்டு தாத்து சொல்ல முடியுமா?
ஸ்யந்த் தாத்து வி பிளஸ் ஸ்யந்த் வி உபசர்க ஸ்யந்த் தாத்து ஸ்யந்ததி ஸ்யந்ததே வா இட்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலி நார்மலி உபயபதின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஒரு நிமிஷம், let me just ஸ்யந்த் இஸ் ஆத்மநேபதி, ஸ்யந்ததே, சோ விஷயந்ததே வந்திருக்கு. ஓகே, அப்புறம் க்ஷி தாத்து க்ஷயதி is க்ஷி தாத்து, so it is parasmaipadi only, so apakshayati.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Namaste Vijaya Mahodaya, you have a question?
अत्र वि व्यते इति अस्ति खलु, विः इति अर्थे आगच्छति वा?
वि उपसर्ग
धातुः
व्यथ व्यथ भयसञ्चलनयोः इति।
वि उपसर्गपूर्वकं व्यत् एव
व्यथ धातु, so व्यथते इत्यस्ति आत्मनेपदी धातु, so vi plus vyathate, vivyathe, and vivyathe is the sorry vyathe eva dhatu, sorry it's not vi upasarga, vyathe is the dhatu, vivyathe is the lit form because there is doubling, no? Vivyathe is just a lit lakara of the vyath dhatu. So
धन्यवादः।
Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we'll finish the class with this. Namah sundaranathaya tasmai halasya vasine chatushrishti vidhalila yenakari bhuvasthale.